Okay, I think we're live. Yep. Okay, today I'm gonna chill. Magus is in here, as you can see, and he is open for questions. I don't know whether I'm going to get any questions, because I don't really get any viewers. I get very few people even chatting, so I thought I'd just try a different format. I tried to do something else today, earlier, and I couldn't do it. It's something I just wanted to share on Twitch. I wanted to try and do something different. I do meditations and things like that. With people, and of course, you know, with this whole global lockdown thing at the moment, things are a bit different, a bit difficult, and a bit different, and very isolating. While it's all very nice, you know, being at home, and a lot of my real life work is I'm you know, I work from home. I'm self-employed, so, you know, but even so, I still go out and visit clients and things like that, and you know, you miss it. You do miss it. So of course, you know, the UK went into lockdown just before Christmas time, and it's been difficult. It is difficult, but anyway, I thought what I would do today is have Hellwalker open for questions, because, you know, I don't know, maybe people have got questions, maybe. Okay, I don't know what that is. Open access dialogue. What is that? You are getting this developer access to. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if there's anyone in chat want to ask any questions, I'll keep an eye on, see who comes into chat, if at all, and I might just start talking about stuff, anything really, anything goes. I'm going to play around with Blender in the background in the meantime. So what I was going to do was, I'm not going to do anything really specific, because I'm really tired. I've had quite a long day today, and so I don't really want to get into anything too major. What I was going to do is go and visit some of my old bits and pieces. Axe. I don't remember ever doing an axe. I could go in and find out what that is. This is 3 years ago. It's interesting. I don't ever remember doing an axe. Ah, okay. I do remember doing an axe. I suspect that I was actually following a tutorial. And it's possible this is where this came from. It is quite interesting looking over your old... Now, isn't that interesting? So this looks like this is texture painting. Now, texture painting, if you've seen a video of a previous video, that I am just not good at texture painting. But this looks like it's been texture painted. That looks like a texture image, maybe. I suspect that okay, so yeah, I can probably see straight away what the problem is here. Oh, this is quite interesting, opening up old stuff. I don't really okay, let's get rid of that 1 minute and let's 3D view. Okay, so for some reason I don't, this is obviously an older version, and I'm using the latest version, stable version, which is 2.91.2. I actually really like version 2.92, which I'm finding actually really quite stable. I can tell you straight away that this mesh is awful. 3D. Wow, okay. It's quite interesting. It is actually really quite interesting at opening up old stuff. You can kind of actually, I mean, this is quite a good exercise. Oh wow, that is extremely low poly with I suspect 3 years, well actually it's 4 years ago now, isn't it? So 4 years ago would have been 2.79 or something. It's a shame actually you can't find out what version of Blender you were using. It doesn't seem to be an option when you click on the file. It normally tells you, you know, what version of program, but it doesn't with Blender for some reason. I vaguely remember using this axe in something as well. I vaguely remember, and I think that's why there's this black bit, because the axe was actually, if I remember rightly, if I open up the I obviously made that out of a cube completely. Isn't that interesting? The outliner, yeah. I vaguely remember actually making a log, because it's all coming back to me now. This is not a very good axe for a start. I think I could certainly make better now. I can see all sorts of things wrong with this, but I do actually remember. I think I vaguely remember making this, and I think it was a tutorial. It was. I think I followed a tutorial, and it involved this sort of bit of texture painting and things like that, which I know I'm not very good at, but I'm going to attempt to get better at it. And it does actually look to me. Oh, where did the UV go? God, blimey, what is going on here? Like the menus, oh, here we go. Don't know why they. Obviously, this is a previous version of Blender this was done in. Okay, sorry, I'm just like playing around with that. Let's see what's going on here. So there's my texture. I can see that the axe is... You see, it's actually quite amazing when you look at something that you made a few years ago, and at the time, I know that I was actually really quite proud about doing this. You know, I mean, I'd done many things before, but this was kind of, you know, I don't know what you'd call it really. It's something that I'd never made before. Let's put it that way. You know, I'm kind of into making mechanical things, and I suppose the nearest thing that I can think of, if anyone's familiar with the term, is what they call hard ops, which is kind of, you know, metallic block concrete, you know, things like made out of real solid thing. You know, I'm not really very good at sort of dynamic modeling or shaping of things and texturizing and, you know, things like that. So it's definitely outside of my comfort zone. What is the formatting? I'm guessing that the formatting of the menus and all that kind of thing is all it's probably because it was done in a previous version of Blender. Wow, how on earth did I get the text? Oh, of course it was texture painted. That's right. I have no idea. I know I used to find Blender so confusing because the interface just wasn't intuitive at all, and I can remember it just being so confusing, and applying textures and again was just not really very easy. I mean, it probably was for people who were using it every day, you know, but I would kind of, I was almost a weekend user, unlike now where I tend to use Blender every single day for some reason, you know, for something, whether I'm learning or following a tutorial or something along those lines. So, you know, I'm more familiar now with Blender than I ever was, and I guess, you know, that's the learning curve. But when you consider that I'd been using Blender for quite a long time, and yet it's really only in the last couple of years when they seem to have changed. I'm talking about Blender as an organization, you know, changed their development and their kind of strategy for things like the interface and version numbering and, you know, all of these other things, that it's now, you know, a lot more intuitive and less techie and developer related and more user friendly. So yeah, that's interesting. No, I'm not going to say that. I don't think I'll ever use an axe. I remember I was renting somewhere that was called a woodsman's cottage, and I was renting it because it was actually part of my role play in Neo Victoria and Machinima Sim, and you know, it was actually, you know, quite a nice little woodsman's cottage. And you know, obviously I built this axe, and I had it sort of dumped on the side of a, you know, a block with some logs, and I made all these logs and things. I mean, we'll probably come across that as well, I guess. Armchair cabriole. There's nothing in there. I don't know what that is. Balloon. I think I've opened this up before. Oh no. Wow, now again, I kind of remember this. How long ago was this? 2014. Okay, so that's 7 years ago. Yeah. Wow. Doesn't time fly? I remember this. Let's check out the geometry on this thing. There's like this 3D full view. I'm guessing that used to be in a previous version. I don't know. Again, I don't really know. Why are the menus? Menu. Come on, flip to top. Menu. There we go. Flip to top. God, if only they had that in previous versions of Blender. Oh, I don't know whether anyone watching this used to remember the old, you know, 2.79 and prior to that, you know, how difficult the interface was. And it was just so difficult. If you screwed anything up, like you lost a window, it was not easy to get it back. And again, you know, like I've just flipped the menus up the top there. You couldn't do that before. You know, it was a bit. It was all very, very non-intuitive. Let's see if we can. I dump. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Why can't I move that over there? Can I move that over there? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Take it out of... I used to work a lot in orthographic view, you know. It's quite interesting. And I think it was because I didn't really know how to use... You know, it wasn't... Again, this is something fairly recent where... you know, it seems to be much easier to work in perspective mode. Look at the way these... So I would never... Yeah, I mean, why is... Okay, so the... oh dear, oh dear. So the mesh is a real mess. I don't know quite why it's like that. We've got all this here for some reason. I wonder... Okay, so it was a sphere. I don't know quite what I would have done there, but I actually quite like the shape of the balloon. Ooh. So I think... I'm trying to remember why I would have made this. Why would I have made this? Have I applied a material to it? No, I haven't. Again, I'm just trying to remember. I think a lot of these inspirations come from the role play. I mean, 7 years ago, I was role playing a lot in Second Life. It was actually quite a a very, very active time. And I probably had this idea of creating, you know, a balloon sort of basket, you know, that could actually potentially be flown around in Second Life, I guess. I don't know why. Interesting. I might start saving these as a different versions, because then I will know that I've actually been in here. I don't want to really change the so that's a 2014 version, and I'm now going to create a 2021 version. Let's open up something else. Barrel. Bedbug poison? What? I don't know. A barrel? Okay, this is fairly... Yeah, this is last year. I remember doing this. It's not a problem. Let's see if I'm trying to find old stuff. Bedbug poison. So again, this was 2014. So that's 7 years ago. Oh yes, now I remember. This was a tutorial. Yeah, this was a tutorial. Now I can't take credit for this. This is really high poly. Flip to top. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, this is not mine, but I think I had this idea of using this. I think this was somebody else's blend file, and it was like a freebie that they were giving away as part of their it was somebody I was following on YouTube, and they were, you know, they were sort of, the tutorial was to create this bottle, and he was giving it away. Sorry, I need to stand. He was giving it away as a, you know, bit of a freebie as part of watching the tutorial, and I had this idea of texturing it and using it as something in a role play, and I don't think I actually did much else with it. But yeah, it's frightening how the years have flown by. It really is. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a sort of a 2021 version, and then I'm not repeating myself. Yeah. I don't know what Belize development kit. November 6th, 2020. I don't know. Yeah, this was last year. It's a bench I made. Now this was an interesting thing. So this is 5 years ago. Yeah, this is interesting. So this Bijou camera HUD, if I remember rightly, let me just check. I don't know whether that actually exists anymore. No, I don't think that exists anymore. It was a Second Life thing that I'd been asked to look into, and I think somebody actually developed it. Let me see if it's on the marketplace. And it was basically a development package for developing a kind of camera HUD for Second Life. And there was kind of, if I remember rightly, there was a sort of a specific reason, you know, that I was asked to look at this thing, and it was just extremely complicated. And I think whoever designed this development kit hadn't really thought it through. Let's just see whether it's even on the marketplace anymore. Okay. No, so it's obviously, it obviously died a death. Blanket bed. Nothing in there. Blanket bed. Star.blend. No. Blood spatter. Don't know. I know what the blood spatter is. I remember making it, but I don't think it was a blend. I don't know why I put it in here. Is under my sort of 3D stuff. Bottle 2 max. I don't know. Blood spatter. Boat and ship. Okay, so this was like, yeah, I was, before I built my massive ship, I was playing around with, again, because there was a requirement from somebody to do boats, and again, you know, I'm a big fan of boats, and so I kind of played around with making, again, you know, a lot of this stuff is actually from just following tutorials, and boats are actually more difficult to make than you think. Now there's different ways of making boats, believe it or not. You can go down the really simple route, which I believe this is. This is an extremely low poly boat, and it looks complicated because the texturing is actually quite, you know, it's relatively good. I don't know why. Is there a... Yeah, okay, so that's what the texture really looks like. So, this is an extremely low poly, small little rowing boat. And again, I think this was one of the first ones that I did. And I was surprised that actually, you know, I mean, it is kind of complicated, and this was the first one that I ever did, and I was kind of surprised at actually how easy it was to build. And then I followed some other tutorials, which we may open up some other files at some point, and then I followed some other tutorials about making boats, and they just got progressively more and more complicated because the tutorials that I was following, you know, people were kind of making 3D boats as if they were making a real life boat, and it started, you know, where each of these, you see this basically is a simple, you know, I mean, look at the geometry on here. It's really simple, you know, really. I mean, this is just as basic as you can get, and it works. And it depends on what you really want it for. I mean, if you just want it for, you know, something for Second Life, and you don't want to go around rowing in it, and you just want it to be a which is what this got used for. It was just like a boat that was on the shore for a seaside seaside, like a little mini island for a house. This was perfect. You know, it worked because it wasn't going to be used. It was just there for show, and in fact, I think it was actually upside down. So, you know, it was just eye candy for a beach. But it is extremely low poly. But I did see some tutorials from people who were making a boat like this, just a simple rowing boat, but I mean, it looked absolutely amazing. But my word, it was just such high poly. It wasn't sculpted, but they physically kind of designed every single plank that went in a boat, and the ribs, the ridges, or the ribs, I think they call them, that go across there, and they were making all the nail holes, and I mean, it was like real, like a real life boat. When it was finished, it was just amazing. But my word, it was complicated. So again, you kind of have to figure out, I think, when you're starting. See, I can tell the shading on this is really bad, and that's because of the normals. Boing! There we go. The normals are now shaded correctly. And I can remember when I brought it into Second Life, and there was this horrible shading areas. And again, why is this even an option? This should be automatic. When you shade smooth something, I cannot even think of an option where you would just click shade smooth and leave everything really bad. You want to get the UVs and the normals to smooth out correctly. I don't know why they. You see, it doesn't look so low poly, and that was the beauty of it. But I can remember bringing it into Second Life, and it had this funny shading. And of course, even then, at the time, I hadn't really, people sort of discovered this, and I remember more and more people using it. I thought, that's interesting. Of course, they kind of discovered it by chance with the people that I followed anyway, and I thought, wow. And now, of course, I do that on everything, because why wouldn't you want the shading to look good? It's like, why would you want the shading to look bad? So why just right hand click on something and go shade smooth and not do this at the same time? But I still see, even so, I still see lots of people just right hand clicking on an object and go shade smooth, and it looks awful, and because they haven't really found out about this. So anyone watching at the moment wants to ask a question, then by all means ask a question. So let's just save this as another version, because I've altered around. I've played around with it. I don't want to upset the original, but we'll just save it as a new version. Let's open up something else interesting. We're going through alphabetically. I don't know what is a 3-foot measure. I don't know what these things are anymore. A 3D frame. So this is 4 years ago. I think I know what this is, actually. Yeah, it's just literally that. It is a frame. Now, the reason why I made this was because in Second Life, and I was going to create a whole series of them, but I made this for a specific purpose. To make a frame like this in Second Life, you have to use kind of a minimum of 2 prims, and of course I just thought, well, that's really silly because I can make it one prim in Second Life and in Blender and bring it into Second Life, and of course it looks like a proper frame as well, and it's got the 3D bit and it's got the bit on the back, and it looks a little bit more authentic even though it's fairly low poly. But then you can just apply a texture to the picture, this bit here, and put whatever you like in there. And I think at the time I had this idea of creating a whole series of frames, because I've got a program that has actually got all these frames built in. And and I just never got around to doing it. Texturing is a bit weird. Anyway, let's explore a bit more. Bookshelves. This was actually this. Oh, okay, we don't need to open up that because you've seen that in the previous video. Bottle, another bottle. Nothing in there. Probably another idea I had. Bottle 2 max. No, there's nothing in there. Boxes. Yeah, well, again, I think this is fairly recent. This is last year. I don't want to look at anything that's kind of, 2 to 3 years. Anything older than that, really, we'll look at. Okay, so I've got something here from 5 years ago. A bullet. Oh, okay. I obviously saved blanket bed in a different area. So that's 7 years ago. Okay, so for some unknown reason, can I not move that then? No. I've obviously saved that in the wrong... should really move that. Because it's in the wrong area and I'm quite intrigued as to what it is. Bear with me 1 minute, let me just move that. Where are we? We're under bullet. Why? I have no idea. Okay, so let's move that into, it was called bed and something, blanket bed. Okay, let's go and see what that is then. So I've moved that from there. That should be gone by now. Come on. Okay. Right, so let's go and open, don't save that, there's no point. Blanket bed. Blanket bed? So it's 7 years ago. Oh no, sorry, 5 years ago. Oh. Now I know what this is. And this was version 2.79 or pre 2.79. This texture is actually for creating a thing that you could do in Blender before. There was a plugin. In fact, I am very tempted. Well, yeah, I'm not. Not so sure it was a good idea to do now, but I know what this was for now. So I obviously made this blanket and then baked this out as a Sculpey. It was called a Sculpey. Now the geometry for the blend model was embedded in this, and it was quite a big thing. Yeah, Sculpey. Well, unblowed. Wow, that brings back memories. That brings back memories. Why can't I flip to top? There we go. Don't like the menu down the bottom. So yeah, so basically what used to happen was, and it was quite an interesting process if no one really kind of know about it, and it was interesting, but it wasn't very accurate. That was the big problem with it. So there was this add-on that you had that created Sculpties, and it was a company called Machinimatrix, and I still use their Avastar add-on. Interesting. So, scale's all wrong. My God, it's just amazing all this stuff that you do now. It's quite amazing. But yeah, the whole idea. So you designed your in Blender, you designed your item, and the whole point of Sculpties and the beauty with Sculpties was that it only ever used one land impact or one prim, and that was the beauty with it. So you could make something really quite large, and all you were doing was uploading this image. Okay, so this was the texture, and then you would load that, and because the texture contained all the geometry and information to do with whatever it was that you designed. So it was actually really, really clever. Yeah, I don't remember it containing anything to do with the texturing information that you applied to an object. I think the texturing had to be done separately, but the geometry data was stored in this kind of multicolored, and it had all the coordinates and the sizes and everything of the item that you just designed. And then you brought that into Second Life, and of course it cost you very little because you were just uploading one texture, which cost you 10 lindens, and then the Sculpey image map, which was another 10 lindens, because Second Life only just saw this as an image. So you could actually make quite complicated things out of Sculpties. I never really found a replacement, because obviously after 2.79, when Blender moved up to 2.8, this add-on just didn't work anymore, which was a real shame, because obviously the whole interface had changed, and back-end programming, and there was a lot, it was a major upgrade. It was a major upgrade to go from 2.79 to 2.8, and there was a lot of things that just didn't work anymore, as things progress. But yeah, this brings back memories. Yeah, this brings back. So you could make things like, you could make tables and chairs. You could make things like hats and body armor, and I mean, you could pretty much. The only real drawback was that it wasn't very accurate. It was a bit. How can I say it? For something like this, it would have been perfect, okay? Because I've got round edges, you know, rounded corners, you got round, you know, sort of beveled edges and all that kind of thing. And of course this, yeah, I think it's got on a, yeah, so I never even applied the modifier. Got 2 modifiers on there. It would have been, you know, for this kind of thing, it was perfect for plants, trees, you know, items that didn't need sharp edges to them. Sculpties used to be really, really good. So, you know, Sculpties now get used still quite a bit in Second Life for sim surrounds, for mountain regions and things like that, because you could make them really, really big. And there would still only be 1 land impact, so you know, it was a. I don't know. Maybe the Lindens didn't like Sculpties because you could do that kind of thing with it. You know, they were obviously losing out on making money because you could bring something into Second Life that was quite complicated. Effectively, and you know, the land impact was very, very low, and it really cost you very little to bring it in worlds. So. But yeah, memories. Why can't I resize this? Resize the menu for some reason. Okay. But of course now you can't produce this, which I'm surprised that somebody didn't come up with yet another plugin that allowed you. There is a term for this, and I can't remember what it is. There is a term for this kind of data. I can't remember, but anyway, let's go and see something else. What have we got up to? Oh, bullets, that's right. So, yeah, bullets, 5 bullets. So this is going back 7 years. We've got 5 bullets there. This is obviously something else. Oh, I see. Okay. Wow, these are friggin' massive bullets. You've got these really strange views. Again. Menu, flip to top. I don't know what these look like. Okay, texturing's pretty crap. I mean, this is 7 years ago. Again, I think I probably followed a tutorial. Shading's all wrong on there. I mean, I can seal this now. It's quite interesting. If there's anyone in chat today, I'm just doing like question and answers. If anyone's watching. Question time with Hellwalker. I might make this a feature, actually. I might do this as a kind of one-off, you know, thing. Maybe, you know, a couple of times a week or something. I don't know whether anyone would be interested in that. It could be something that I do when I've got a bit of a break throughout the day, or I want to do something different. You know, I'm working away, programming or whatever, and you know, I might just sort of drop in and do an hour online sort of question time. I don't know. I mean, I've got a suggestion box. If anyone watching this video, you know, can leave a suggestion in the suggestion box on my Twitch page, you know, that would be brilliant. If you think this is a good idea or not, or you'd be interested. I mean, question time for me, not just about Blender. I mean, it can be about Second Life, it can be about life, it can be about psychology. I'm open to anything. I can talk about pretty much any subject really, as long as I know something about it. But yeah, even if I don't know anything about it, then I will ask questions. You know, that's been always my attitude. So I must have followed a tutorial, I think, on this. Oh, the mesh actually looks pretty neat. The shading's a bit crazy because I know this is very brass-like, and so how did I do this? This is 7 years ago. TikTok. Okay. What have we got here? Bullet texture. Nothing in there. These have got nothing in them. Did I do it via nodes then? I wonder. Maybe I did it via nodes. Yeah. Yes. So it's I did it via nodes. That's what it is. And yep, this was in the days before the principled BDSF, and yeah, this you had to use a glossy BDSF. And of course, you know, there's roughness on there, and you take the roughness away, ta-da, and you should now get should now get a brighter. So now we've got a much brighter brass. I'll add a little bit. You see, I remember at the time thinking, why is it like that? You know, why is it kind of like brushed brass? Of course, now I know. Now I know why. God, yeah, the toolbar is kind of weird. Come on. There we go. Crumbs. Aren't I now? Yeah, of course, you know, we didn't have we didn't have this mixed shader on there, and holy crap. Yeah, again, this was probably a tutorial. Roughness, there we go. So if we lower the roughness down, we get a much shinier and more brass-like and bullet-like thing. There we go. Looks more like bullets now. Biting's all wrong, but the brass doesn't exactly look like brass. It does there on the textured view, but then it doesn't always come out like that. But yeah. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Okay, let's save that as a different version. Of course, I never used to create versions before, and I don't know why, but I used to create versions of things in other programs and I never had a problem. But I really don't understand why I never really created versions in Blender. It never occurred to me to keep saving and creating, you know, different versions. But there you go, you learn as you go along, don't you? So we're up to bees, we're up to bullets. Okay, I don't know what. Casia diffruta, I have no idea what that is. Candle holder. Nothing in there. Castle ideas is actually a fairly recent thing. Castles, yeah. Cauldron is a recent thing. Chairs, that's 2021, that's this year. Okay, so Chinese chair. Chinese chair. This is 7 years ago. And I'm trying to remember why I made this. I think the only bit that was Chinese about this whole thing was the texturing. I obviously haven't applied the texturing correctly. Lighting. Ah, yeah, this was back in the day when I couldn't get my head around lighting. I found lighting so, and again, you know, when the interface is not particularly good, I used to find it so difficult to try and get, you know, to move objects like that around in Blender before used to be horrendous. It just wasn't very good, and I don't think it was because I was just like learning Blender. It just wasn't very intuitive. I think people who are learning Blender from, you know, recent last few years have got it easy compared to what it used to be like before. And I've used all sorts of programs. You know, I've used programs from, you know, all sorts of different types of things, and I can pick up stuff really quite easily, but this was just never really very intuitive. So, I don't know whether or not. So I had I'm wondering whether I ever really... I know one thing that I used to find really difficult in the beginning was trying to apply textures after you'd baked them. So I remember actually producing the texture, but then never really being able to preview it properly in here because I just didn't understand the... I just never really understood the, you know, what happened after you baked your texture. You know, the UV mapping thing was just never really very. Again, I just found it all very confusing. Has this even got? Oh yeah, it has got UV map. Right. So where is the UV map? The UV map's not even. Hey, it's fun looking at this stuff. It is fun. So anyone that's just coming into chat, basically, it's a question time with Hellwalker. So Hellwalker's sitting in his chair there, waiting for questions. If anyone has got any questions. I don't know how I've got this texture. I really understand how I've got this texture because there's no UV. Oh, there's the UV. Right. Don't know what I was looking at there. And so, yeah, okay. Right. I'm just intrigued to find out oh, come on. Anyone watching wants to ask Hellwalker any questions, then do feel free. It can be about Blender, it can be about life, it can be about psychology, it can be esoteric, it can be whatever. I just want to have conversations with people. What am I doing? Oh, shader editor, that's what I want. So there's actually nothing. Okay. Material. That's interesting. So there's no. This is. What? I don't know what I've done there. There's nothing there. It says use nodes, but there's nothing there. Okay. Principal BDSF. Okay. So I obviously never really realised. Again, you know, I know I keep saying it, but it wasn't. I didn't find it very intuitive at all. And I used to watch videos over and over and over again, and they used to go so fast. They used to go seriously fast, and I could never really catch up with. And I'm in a way I'm kind of grateful. Even now, people still go way too fast. They you know, they click here and click there and click on that and click on this and do that and boom boom boom, and you plug that into there and you put that over there. So this was my, you know, I mean, you know, for such a simple low poly chair, it's actually not a bad little accessory. You know, I mean, it really is low poly. You know, now I'm altering things because I know how to do texturing and things like that now. That looks much better because it's not so shiny. But yeah, let's save that. 7 years ago, you know, you've got to remember, it's a lot's happened in Blender in 7 years. Okay, so we're up to Chinese chair. Christopher Guy. I have no idea what that is. Don't know. Churches is a recent thing. Okay, clock version 2. Domed carriage clock. Okay, let's see what this is. Oh! Wow, now this is a blast from the past. Wow, I forgot about this. Whoa, wow, this really is a blast from the past. Again, everything I seem to do is in orthographic mode for some reason. I don't think I ever applied any textures to this. Again, look at the shading, it's awful. There we go. Instantly the shading is, you know, and look at the shading on this. Terrible, look at it. Why does that look so bad? And this is too low poly, and again, what is going on with that shading? Don't know. But yeah, this is bringing back memories. Did I make all? No, I didn't make all this one. Look at that! I couldn't even line that up properly. I remember modelling this off of a real-life carriage clock, and obviously I never textured it. Wow. I didn't apply any... Oh, I do have materials. Okay, I think I know what I did with this. I vaguely remember making this, and I really don't think there's a lot of materials there, but I didn't... I made the materials slots, but I didn't do anything. And it's something that I remember I used to do before. I used to like designing things, bringing it into Second Life, and putting material slots on faces and such like, and then bringing it into Second Life and doing the texturing and everything in Second Life. Instead of doing it now, you know, inside Blender. Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing, you know, what you forget that you've made. If only I'd known all the little tips and tricks that I know now, I would have been so much happier with making things like this, because I remember looking at it thinking, wow, that looks, you know, you apply the shading because obviously you're doing, you know, a little bit of modelling and whatnot in there, and then you think, oh, it looked awful. Well, I'm blowed. Well, I am blowed. Domed carriage clock. There you go. Wow, we really are blast from the past today. How come I seem to have missed... Oh, clock. Yes, clock. Right. CMA logo. Okay, that was just last year. Coffins, that's last year. That's this year. Cottage with fence, 7 years ago. Wow, I did a lot of building in 2016. Model? No, don't seem to be anything in there. Crystal singing bowls. Oh yeah, these were actually quite interesting. Yeah, these I made, and I coloured them actually in Second Life. Interestingly, this is the cushion, and it doesn't look like I could really make a cushion, does it? But anyway, yeah, these were chakra singing bowls, and I made this in Second Life, and yeah, I mean, it worked. You know, you sit down on the cushion and you actually physically touch each of these bowls, and it plays the right tone. And I colorized them in Blender, in Second Life, to the correct color of the chakra, and yeah, hey presto, you got some singing bowls. And so you know, when you touched each of these bowls, it played the tone, you know, of a crystal singing bowl, effectively. and it works. So I picked up the texture somewhere for the carpet, but again it was to try and keep it as low poly as possible, and the land impact down. Yeah. I'm not going to save on that one. I could probably get the land impact now that I know a lot more about, you know, I can remember at the time, you know, Second Life was not very friendly about people bringing stuff in from Blender, and not an awful lot of people knew how to try and lower the land impact. And yeah, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like it is today. I know so much more now about how to lower down the land impact and all of those kind of things. Cube with holes. Oh yes, now I was talking about this the other day in another video, and yeah, so a magic cube. Now this, you know, this is quite interesting. So what happened was, I was basically, this is an interesting project. I had been commissioned to do this by somebody in Second Life, and they paid me to do it. Okay, and they wanted it for a project, and they didn't know how to do this. So he knew that obviously I could, you know, I was using Blender and doing all of those other things. I mean, that's pretty much all I do in Second Life anyway, is I build stuff. I either do role play or I build stuff. Yeah, so the story behind this was quite interesting. So anyway, I was approached because this chap that I kind of met in World, and he saw me making something, and he asked me if I could actually make a cube with a hole in each side. And I thought, yeah, you know, I can do that. It's not a problem. So obviously, you know, I just set up a Boolean, put a cube in, and it was like within a couple of days. And he wanted it within a couple of days. So I just sort of played around with this, and I asked him, you know, what size holes he wanted and all that kind of thing. And yeah, that's where this came from. And I thought, at the time, I thought that's actually pretty neat. You know, I could actually make something with that. I'm sure. You know, I never saw what he was using it for. He was making some big thing anyway for somebody else. But he could only work with Prim, and he couldn't do it in Blender. Because he was quite surprised that I did it so fast in Blender and then uploaded it, and it was still only like one land impact or something. And yeah, look at the shading when you just use the normal shading. It's awful. Why, I see, again, like I said earlier, why is this auto smoothing not a default thing? You know, so that you can get that compared to the other thing. There's no comparison. But anyway, I kind of thought, you know what, I could actually use that myself. I never really ever saw these people again. They paid me for the job. And then they were over the moon. This chap was like, oh, you know, thanks very much, brilliant, you know. And I got some really nice messages from him, and it was like almost a pivotal point in his own build that I could make this for him, and you know, and he could finish his whatever it was he was doing. I don't know what he was doing. So anyway, I then made this kind of mechanical clock kind of thing out of it. And put a couple of cogs, it's all steampunk. I kind of, you know, made this curved thing here and a couple of cogs and whatever, and put this mechanism thing together, and yeah, came up with this idea. And basically put some textures on here, so these cogs kind of go round, and then there's a picture in the background on this part, which each of these discs, which has got a texture on them, you can see there, it turns around, so this whole thing kind of turned into a magical kind of box type thing. Yeah, I'm sure I know I could do much better than that now. Wow, nice memories. Actually, nice memories when you look back on what it was that you 7. Well, that's actually longer. So that's that's 7 years ago. 7 years ago. So I'm going to save that one because that's actually again that's. So the cube with the holes was the first thing, and then I turned it into a magic box. So the cube with the holes is just literally that. And then I sort of thought a couple of days later I could make something out of that. That's actually quite a neat idea, and of course it had a mechanical thing in it, so that was quite good. Trip down memory lane. Anyone in chat here wants to ask a question? Today is question time with Hellwalker. Basically. Let's open up one or two more, and then if no one's going to ask questions, I'm going to call it a day. Cubic hole, and then I've got cup, so again that's 7 years. Nope. There's just no blend file in there, that's the thing. So this is last year, diamond ring. Okay, yeah, now I know. Yep, the diamond ring. Yeah, so this was a commission that somebody wanted me to make, and again, why orthographic? Oh no. Yeah, so this was a commission. Obviously, this is absolutely huge. Yeah, I mean it's 2 meters. But then when you resize it down into Second Life, you kind of have to make it big because there is a minimum limit for a try, I think, or a face in Second Life. It can only go down so far. It won't allow you. So you can actually start it off really, really small, but of course it's much better working on a larger a larger model. So I kind of designed that, and then I don't know whether I've got any did I think again this was another model that I made, brought it into Second Life, and then applied the textures because it was just easier to do that than try doing it, but now I would find it a lot easier. To do the texturing actually now in Blender, because it wasn't that easy before. It really wasn't easy. That's why most of these things don't have textures on them. And again, here we go again with the shading thing. Select the ring. Yeah. I don't know, is there a way of finding out when certain things, so at Blender, when did the normals, auto, smooth, added. Okay, don't know. Yeah, you see, it wasn't actually very long ago. Well, long ago. It was like 4 years ago. So, yeah. So it's true. I'm not BSing at all when I said that this auto smoothing, the shade smooth option was there, but the auto smoothing for the normals wasn't there. So yeah. So you have to apply shade smoothing, and then you apply that, and of course it shades the normals correctly for you, so it doesn't look crap. But yeah. Save that one. Okay, I'm going to do one more. If no one's got any questions, I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to call it a day. So we're up to Diamond Ring. The dirigible, I've got the Dragon Fabric. Cover for armchair. Do you know what? I suspect, actually, I think a lot of these dates on these files are actually wrong, because they're all 2016. And I know that I was doing stuff a long time before that, and I think 2016 was when I made this current computer, and I probably restored all the data back from a hard drive, hence they've all got the 16th of April 2016, because I don't think these files, I know some of them go back a lot further than just 5 years. So there's nothing in there. Fairy wings. Nothing in fairy wings. Fire pit. I've got fire pit. So this is dated 2014, but the directory is dated 2016. So I think that's this is 7 years ago. Yeah, fire pit. And again, I would shade. Oh my goodness, there's some really bad mesh going on there. Holy moly, that is bad. Whoa, I obviously didn't do a very good job with that. Of course, I'll do this again very, very differently. Yeah, I think the oh my goodness, that's awful. How did I not see that? Okay. Again, the normals, also smoothing on the normals would have corrected an awful lot of these problems. Not the missing mesh, but it's obviously not really very good. But anyway, okay, so if no one is going to come and join me for question time with Hellwalker, then I'm going to call it a day. Once again, anyone watching this video, thank you very much for watching. Obviously didn't get any questions, but I'm thinking that I might do this again. I can talk about all sorts of subjects, really, and it just, anyone wanted to participate or join in or ask questions or just talk about anything, then by all means do join. I might have to maybe do this as a regular slot, maybe a few times a week. Then people might come back a little bit more often, maybe. If they know that I do this during the day, or when I'm taking a break from my sort of real life job, then maybe I could just pop in World and do a quick question time for an hour or something. So yeah, that's about it really. Thank you very much for watching, as I say, and to all the people that have followed recently, thank you very much as well. I mean, it's encouraging. I sometimes I just, I like to follow people even if I don't always follow every single stream of them, because I think it's just encouraging to know that what you're doing is interesting to somebody somewhere, even if you're not participating in real time, or it's just interesting. As I say, it's encouraging to actually know that people actually like your videos and are prepared to follow. So yeah, thank you very much, and have a good time, and I'll see you again.